Hmm. Yesterday we have seen the different time series. Uh, we have just taken a view of the various sort of time series having level and secular trend. Time series have uh, level, secular trend, and seasonal variation. So, am I audible to you all? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now we see some more details about this time series, and again I am starting with the same. And here we are again reading the RAIN CSV data, and whose head I am showing you. This is the head, and it starts from 1813, and I will convert this in time series. So when I convert this in time series, you will see I will show you the head. Now it is like this, and then we plot it this time series, and we see this is our time series. Here in this time series, there is no secular trend, no cyclic variation, or the seasonal, the cyclic, no cyclic variation, no seasonal variation. Then only is level there. So as we know that if there is level only, then we write in this way, Holt Winters as a function. And the rent is the time series we will write, then comma beta false and comma false. Okay. And we run this, and this I have also explained few things which I already written in the PPT. This model is basically ST plus 1 alpha YT plus 1 minus alpha ST, where A's are forecast and Y are the observed value. This can be written as ST plus 1 ST plus alpha ET, where it is the error in the previous forecast. So now I see the RenFit, which is the my model. So I am getting this parameter, this is the alpha 0.02, and this is A. Why does it mean? This is the coefficient. Okay. So I explain you this now. Here we have the y hat, which is the basically we could say the prediction, and it is a linear prediction basically, or it is the A, and coefficient is, it is coefficient basically. So A plus, you could write that A plus H. Just a moment, I calculate this first. I just calculate this so I could get the thing proper. I have calculated y plus it is equal to A into H. This A into H, I think. A into H. This should be A into H. So if you take the A into H, then what will happen? If we see the range fits and we see the fitted value, so last value is 24.599, or you see here also 24.67, it is the coefficient is the, and if we see the prediction for this, for the forecast and for the 10 years, and I see the value of this. It is 24.67. So as we have got this value 24.67819, here is it 24.67819. Okay. Basically, I just remember what's the definition. I just thinking about that. Is the yt plus 1. To try it in this way, we could change the pattern. Yt plus 1 is equal to a plus a plus h would be same here. So h would be same means how we create this equation. With the basically, if we time period that whatever we take, so it will be 0. So this value a whatever is will continue till end. The same value will continue till end. 24.67. So it will the line like this. Okay, it is the straight line horizontal to this x-axis, and this would be same. So that is the yt plus 1 is equal to a. Whatever you take, whatever the time period you take, you get a constant. Sorry, yeah, that's the meaning. Okay, it is a1. There is no prediction time. Whatever you take, it will be a. So this is our meaning of this a. I will explain you more better in the next. In this, I will explain that to you, and I remove this first. Okay, no need to remove. I just done this. So is the head of this and plot this, and then I make a model for this. It is the secular trend is there. I'm plotting this also, and I'm forecasting it. I just write this, so you will see A and B is given to us. So what does it mean? So this line has no slope. It is the horizontal basically. So we have this equation constant. Now for this one, I will write it is the y t plus h, whatever you are writing. T plus h, h is the period for which you want the prediction, the forecasting. So a plus b into h. Does that make sense to everyone? So here you see a is y59. We are taking yt plus 1. Okay. So it is a is 529. 0.3 something whatever, and b is 5.69, and h is 1 here. So we will get here like 9 and 9 and 5 and 9 14, 3 534.99 yt plus 1. So I will show you this. So I just do the forecast for this. Then I will run this forecast. So you will see here the first forecast, which is for 1924. It is 534.99. Got it? And if you take the yt t plus 2, then you will again here you write the 2 and then you add on here. Does that make sense to everyone? Or we got this point forecast?
Yes, sir.
So this is a way the equation we get in this way, and we could find out the A and B I have explained you. And then one more we take. I remove this. So the third one, sovereignty, we see. In sovereignty, we have the seasonal variation also. So we have converted first in log, and then we prepare one plot for that log, and then we use the whole winter. There is a level trend, secular trend, and seasonal values. So if I run this, you will see I will get this. What does it mean beta? Beta is 0 here. Beta is for what? Alpha is the updation. We take the parameter or the factor for that updation factor for level, and the beta is updation factor for secular trend. So what does it mean if beta is 0?
So that means there is no trend, I guess.
There is no trend.
Yes.
Somebody else can tell me.
I think no secular trend.
There is no secular trend. Yeah. What does it mean beta is 0?
There is no secular fluctuations.
Yeah.
There is no secular fluctuations.
And then you please write. I am not getting your voice. Please you write on the chat box so I could understand what you are saying. Yeah. Yeah. What? No secular fluctuation. Trend is there or not, Tarun? Is there trend? Secular trend is exist or not? What do you say? Yeah. There is secular trend, but it is constant. There is secular trend, but it is constant. It is not fluctuating. Am I right? Does that make sense to everyone?
So sir, beta 0 means that there will be secular trend, but there is not fluctuations.
There is it's constant. Okay, because there is a because B is A is for what? We have
A for constant term.
A plus B into H plus seasonal. So this is our YT plus 1 would be finally. So what will happen? There is a seasonal trend, so B is there. There is secular trend, so B is there. B is the coefficient of secular trend. So coefficient for secular trend. And in the first equation, you see I have written only YT plus 1 is equal to A. It means the secular trend B was 0 there. In the rent TS. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So this is the basic equation. and S we also take here. And the S what we take, the S whatever we are taking, it is also 0 in that. There is no seasonal trend, seasonal variation in the first rent TS. In the second, there is no seasonal variation, so we have assumed it is 0. Okay, but here it is a seasonal variation. So when I take for the next January, so what I will get? I will get 10.37, 38. I write here 3766, and B I am writing 0.303. Sorry, 0.03, and first seasonal is negative, so it will minus 0.81. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
If I calculate this, so what I will get? I just show you. I calculate it with my calculator.
Sir, it will be 9.6.
9.6.
Yes, sir.
9.6 I will get YT plus 1, but it is a log value. You know that?
Yes, I do.
We have taken the log.
Yes, sir. We have taken
So
log.
we will get the 2.71 to the power 9.6. This would be. Okay. And this would give us the actual value. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
So 2.71 and is to the power 9.6. We get the actual value. That is 14,338. This would be the final value for T plus 1. But our log value will be 9.6. So we see the 9.6 what we get here, the log value. Okay, 9.6 we have. So we see here, we predict this and we find the log value. So I just forecast it for the 48 months and I just see the log value, what I get here. It should be in the first month, 9.6, correct? 9.597, it is 9.6, okay? Does that make sense to everyone? G. Rimi, are you getting it?
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you.
And Srinivasan ji?
Sir,
Srinivasan ji? Okay, I think he's not.
sir,
Yeah, Aditya Bol.
sir, I have a doubt. I am still confused with beta and B. What exactly B signifies? And beta, you already said it's a
Beta is a
coefficient
updation.
for,
Beta is a updation parameter. I show you that
and what
slide
is a
again.
and what is B?
It is the linear. We are making equation like you see here. This up to here you will see A plus BH. It is a linear portion. And here S, if we add on S and this, it will give us the curvical sum. Does that make sense to you? S1, S2,
So,
S3.
S1, S2, S3 I got, but I did not get B.
B is a secular trend. B is the
Is a secular.
coefficient of secular trend. Coefficient of secular trend. These both are the coefficient. This is the coefficient of secular trend. And this is the coefficient of level. And this is the our
Seasonal.
it is our seasonal trend. coefficient, it is not, it may be the coefficient, you could say that. Okay. Coefficient of the constant, it is work like a constant, coefficient of seasonal trend.
Okay.
Seasonal
So
variation,
if
sorry. Hmm.
yeah, this I understood ABS. So what alpha, beta, and gamma plays a role? If these are coefficient, then alpha, beta, gamma, what is the role of that?
I will explain. Don't worry. I just show you that PPT, then I will explain. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I clear this. No problem now.
No, no problem with that.
Just I first search out that page, so it would be better. Oh. Look at this. This is our alpha.
Yes.
Okay. Alpha is the, it is for the updation parameter, है ना?
Okay.
Okay. So this is the alpha, we are taking the coefficient of yt. It is not making the equation. Equation what I have produced there, that is the AT. A I have written there. Na? So if I write the equation, this is the equation. Future observation, earlier level plus some error.
Okay.
So what we have taken, we have taken a linear equation like only yt plus 1 time I want, and that is A plus we have the B into H, basic equation A plus B into H. H is the time period what you are taking. Right. So here the H, T plus H basically we write. Okay. So here B is the secular trend is 0.
Right.
If you have the level only. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So this LT is A. Got it?
Okay.
LT plus, sorry, this one, this whole thing is A. So we get this one, T plus 1. This and this same thing.
Okay.
I could write the T also, but does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
So alpha is the updation parameter we have, okay, which lies between 0 and beta is also the updation for the secular trend, okay, and gamma is for the seasonal variation. Does that make sense to you?
So theoretically, updation parameter and coefficient are different.
Different.
Okay. So coefficient signifies, I mean,
it represents the linear equation.
Right.
Straight line.
And parameter updation helps in what sense?
Parameter updation, it is the regression you are giving to the previous, how much weightage you are giving to the lake, nearest lake, and how much weightage you are giving to the farthest lake.
Okay, so we can consider those are the weightage to the coefficient or weightage to the particular time.
Yeah, a particular lake, we could say the lake, it is called the lake.
Lag value, right.
Lake value.
Okay, understood.
So we again come to our data set. So this everybody knows that now we have got this, and if we could convert this through the e to the power 2.71 to the power this, and we get the value. But I would like to show you that value. I would like to show you the tail of this. After before log, I would like to show you the tail. So on TS. So you see it is the tail I have, and the tail, the last value in the December, that is 11.55848, and we have got the 14 point something as we have calculated at that moment for the January 1994. Okay, that's okay, no problem, because this much if we see the previous one, then this will it will be exponentially high. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. There are some more thing I have given. I explained that thing also. That is about the now the more thing I would like to explain about the stationary time series. What does it mean? So you know that the stationary is one of the most important concept you will come across when working with time series. It is very important. So I am again explaining this. A stationary series is one with the properties mean, variance, and covariance do not vary with time. Okay, mean, variance, and covariance. In the first plot, we can clearly see that the mean varies with time, which results in the upward trend. You see here, if I explain this. So if you calculate the mean for up to here, is this data, up to here to here. So you will get the mean somewhere here. If you get the mean for up to here, the total data up to here, then you will get the mean somewhere here. So mean will change time to time. Does that make sense to everyone? And thus this is the non-stationary series. For a series to be classified as stationary, it should not exhibit a trend. It should not be exhibiting a trend. If there is moving on the second plot, we certainly do not see trend in this series. Okay, but the variance in the series is function of time. So you will see variance is there in the function of time. It mentioned previously a stationary series must have a constant variance, and if you look at the third plot, then the spread becomes closer as the time increases. You see it is become closer, which implies that the covariance is a function of time. So this I am telling that. So now one more slide, it will explain better, because we have to understand first. I just clear this. A time series said to be stationary if it holds the following conditions true. The mean value of the time series is constant over time, which implies the trend component is nullified. Okay. And the variance does not increase over time. And the seasonality effect is minimal. So it should be like that. Seasonality effect should be minimal. A minimum, it means. And let me see one another thing, which is the white noise process. White noise is an important concept in time series forecasting. If a time series is white noise, so it is a sequence of random numbers and cannot be predicted. Okay. If the series of forecast errors are not white noise, it suggests improvement could not be made to the predictive model. So if we make a sequence of random numbers, so it will take the random number, so it will be very zigzag. If we take the normal random, and if you make a time series of that, so it will not be a it will have so many white noise over there. So the random process that satisfies the following, if the mean is constant, the first condition is same for the stationary and for the white noise. So mean should be constant, variance should be constant. So these two are same. And autocovariance. So autocovariance, I will explain you. Each observation is uncorrelated with other observation in the sequence. Okay. So autocorrelation coefficient, generally we assume it is a normally distributed. T is a sample size here. So it is 0 would be the mean of that, and the autocorrelation coefficient, and 1 over T, or we could say the N also. So that is this. And I just show you the figure, then you better understand that thing. You see, prediction is not feasible in this sort of data set. If we have, there is so many white noise. When you remove this white noise, you will get in this way. Okay, so now you could make some prediction, but here in this data, you could not make any prediction. There is so many white noise. And we see there is some autocorrelation factor, as we have seen here, the autocorrelation coefficient where T is the sample. So this is the measurement. We check the autocorrelation. Covariance is a different thing, and the correlation is a different thing. You know the difference between covariance and the correlation. So it is the autocorrelation factor function is which the correlate with the previous lag, and this way that is the autocorrelation factor. The correlation between the observation at the current time spot and the observation at previous time spots. Okay, that is the ACF. And the partial autocorrelation factor, the correlation between observation at two time spots, given that we consider both observations are correlated or observations at other time spots. For example, today's stock price can be correlated to the day before yesterday, and the yesterday can be correlated to the day before yesterday. So this PSEF of yesterday is the real correlation between today and yesterday after taking out the influence of the day before yesterday. So does that make sense to you, or you could not understand? So I will explain you.
Sir, we'll need explanation.
Okay. I will give you the little bit, not the complete one I could solve, but I will show you the thing. Okay. This is not that one. Where is that? I just show you, just a moment, you wait. This one is for also the autocorrelation factor, but I want to take one more. And something is missing, so I told you that thing. ESCF1 we are getting here, and the leg one ESCF1, ESCF we are getting this. So I just show you. I draw one more. I take a new one. I will show you in a simple way. I would like to explain. This is the time we have, and this is our, suppose anything, the visitors, number of visitors. taking here 1 2 and taking 20, and yeah, I'm giving 45, 6, 25, 34, 6, 45, 71, 62, 58, 3, 70, 70, 9, 66, 45, 6. This I have, and if I take leg 1, it is the leg 0. And if I take the leg 1, so what I will do, I will copy this, I will paste here. Leg 2, okay, I will again copy this, I will paste here. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What is basically PACF or ACF? I will explain you, but not complete the little one. So it is in this way we are checking this, and we get the correlation between these. Okay. So we are getting the correlation between these. So here we are not getting, so we'll get from here to here only. Okay. And then we use some formulae for that, and then we got out the ACF, and it is not the ACF only, this correlation. Okay, we have to work with that also something. But for PACF, I will explain you what we do. Suppose there is a this and these are the same. This and this is pair of that, and they this day and this day is working. Suppose we could say that um, uh, this leg 0 is a festival day, we could say, and the leg 2 is also festival day, and leg 4 is also a festival day. So we will, this leg will we correlate with this, and then we correlate with this. So in this way we are taking. So but what we do here, we take the correlation of the, we take see the uh, partial correlation between, we find out what we find out, we that the, this is like a regression, we use here some regression and we get it out. So but here that's not easy to explain with this. I just see my seat. So ACVF is ACVF, because some of the thing has been missing, so I have to correct this. Some formula, just a moment. CF and PSC. So PSCF we are getting. And this is my ACF. ACF would be same for the first one, first leg, but the second leg it will change drastically. Okay, then it is changing leg by leg. So ACF B4 should be 25. We are taking just the value B4 to B25. So B4 to B25. We have taken this, and SEVF we are calculating for this. And this is a formula we have already in the formula bar we are using here. Okay. I just do this with no. Okay. I'll explain you later about this. I will correct that, then I will show you. It's a big calculation basically.
No worries.
Not a small one. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
So I
So,
will explain that. But I explain the theoretical part of this. So that tomorrow we'll see the practical.
okay, sir. So, before moving ahead, I should assume that ACF is the correlation between the last value and current value, and PACF is a correlation between the you can say 3 lag values and the current value.
No,
Is
no,
it
it doesn't mean that.
okay?
That is not that thing. And there is some more calculation, more formally over there. And there is a different formula. After getting the correlation, we also find out some ratio.
Okay, but this factor signifies what? I mean, the ACF coefficient must be signifying something. So,
Quite
what?
nice. Or this thing, if we have to check the stationary, non-stationary, we have to check. We could check through it.
Okay.
So I just either tell you the autocorrelation function ACF is a leg K, 8 leg K, denoted rho K. I will not go through this, and I will just show you some important thing which is very important. We are not going that deep.
Okay, okay, fine.
You know that the in future we are in the next session we are going to study about the auto regression and moving average model. Moving average, I have explained you how we get the moving average, 3 years moving average, 5 years moving average. I have explained you earlier, and we will do in the R later. So there is a ARIMA, that is a auto regression moving average model, integrated moving average. If I have the AR, so SEF would be geometry, and PSCF would be significant till PLEX, and after PLEX it will not significant. So I will show you. First you see this so you could understand better. So this is our SEF or PCF graph. There are the legs we have. The leg 1 is here, which is always be significant. Okay. Here you see the black, we have the SEF, autocorrelation factor, which is significant, which is greater than 1, minus 1.9, less than minus 1.96, greater than less than minus 1.96 because it is on the negative side. On the positive side, if it is greater than 1.96, you know that the 5% significant, 5% level of significance or the 95% confidence level. So this is the significant, then it is the not significant. And a black spot you see here. Okay, these are all positive at that moment. But on the PSCF, you see it is the significant here and the significant also here. It is little bit on the second leg. It is the significant here, but it is PSCF. If you see the ACF, SEF is what? SEF seems to be significant till the first leg only, and in the second leg it is not significant. But you see the PSCF is the geometric. It is going in this way. It is geometric means the exponentially it is decreasing. Does that make sense to you? Or here it is increasing basically. It is the negative side. So it is the geometric. So it is called the PSCF is geometric and SEF is a significant till first leg. So I have written here significant till T legs or the first leg, and SS. So it is a geometric. PSCF is geometric we have here, and the significant till one leg is the MA. So this model is called, this series is called MA1 series. We will say it is the MA1 series because the first SEF is significant and then there is no SEF is significant. So it is the moving average 1 series. Okay. I will explain you one two more, then you could better understand. Here you see SEF seems significant till first leg. You see SEF is here and SEF you see it is now here and it is less than 1.96. Okay. So it is again the first leg, or we could say it is on the second leg. It is the more than minus 1.96. So I have written here the first leg. It would be the second leg. Here is the second leg basically. So it is the second leg, and second leg is also significant. So we will wherever it up to where it would be significant, we will say the significant date leg. So it is the second leg is significant. So and PCF you see here again it is the decreasing. It is the geometric. You see, it is the geometric or not. It is the this value is the if you flip it, so you will get that it is the between these two. So it is the geometric. So the PSEF is geometric again. As in the previous case, you see PSEF was geometric. Here also PSEF is geometric and SEF is significant till second leg. So it is called the moving average second series. Okay. So I will explain you later when we do this, what is MA2 and what is MA1, why we are. So it is the MA is the D, MA is the Q we have, the moving average. So we will explain this with the practical. And here it seems that the SEF is geometric now. Black are geometric, and this white are not geometric. It is the first leg is only we have significant, and other is very small, which is not there. So this is our AR model, because I have explained here. If the SEF is geometric and the PSEF is a significant till P lags, so it is a AR model. So this model is a AR model, autoregression series, and it is the first is only PSEF is significant, so AR1 series it is called. Now one more thing I would like to explain, the last one. You see all are significant, all SEF are significant. Then it is a non-stationary series. Does that make sense to everyone now? If all the
Yes,
legs,
sir. Yes, sir.
if all the legs are significant, then it is non-stationary series. Okay, it is the you see here the ACF is the autocorrelation factor is now on the significant. It is not a statistically we are proving. We have the different methods also. We could use the various hypothesis testing, but it is not as much as a statistical we could say mathematical thing. It is through the this picture or this graph we are going to know about the what is the position or whether it is stationary or non-stationary. In this way, you could see it. It is not as much as accurate, but it is helpful. We use the time series. In the time series, we use this thing mostly. And this I explained you the seasonal, cyclic, irregular already. And this I also explained you. And decomposition we see in the series. I have not done any decomposition. We could decompose the time series. We could decompose this TS. Skirts TS. We have two only. No? We have level and trend. Level and secular trend. So we decompose this. Decompose time series. So time series has no or less two periods. Okay. No less two periods. So we have the level only. Na? We could do for this. We see the decompose. Compose. See, now it decomposed now. And I want to know the plot of this. I want to see the plot. See the plot of this. I've got this plot. Okay. And I will show you this plot and you will see that. I just remove this so you could watch it properly. You see here we have, this is our observed actual, that's our sovereignty, TS. And this is the trend, secular trend. Okay. Or this is the seasonal variation we have. Or this is our random, what is the residuals we could say. It is there. So they decompose this thing. We could decompose in this way. And there are the value also. We could decompose this. And in the first we will not get anything. The seasonality is there. But the trend will not give for the first one. First 6 months, we are not getting the trend. NA is there. And then it started the trend. You see that here it is not from the beginning. It is from here, and it is also not for the last. You will see here last 6 months. We don't have that. Okay. And the 1993. And random, we see that seasonal random is it is the trend secular, or it is the our that seasonal variation. We have this. So the seasonal variation we have, the different, I will tell you the seasonal variation is not here. Here is the random. Random is what is the residual. It is also for this 6 month and the last 6 month. It would not be there. Okay. And the figure is this given to us 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is for the seasonality figures or the coefficients is given to us. This is the additive type now because type is additive, and the decomposed TS we have taken this. And seasonal is here. Seasonal we will get the all seasonal we are got. Seasonal there. In the seasonal there is no gap, and here also in no gap in the observed. Okay, this is the observed we have. So in this way you could understand this thing, and some more plots I will show you about it.
So, sir, one question, sir. Why that seasonal is showing negative?
Seasonality,
No.
because if it is downward somewhere, downwards, so it will give the negativity.
Okay.
And this is a trend, or it will run on the trend, the downward the trend, then it will give the negative. On the upper the trend, it will give the positive.
Can you show the table once again, sir?
Yeah.
See.
This is the positive. This is the positive. This is the positive. As S1, S2, S3 we have seen there.
So means a lot of negatives are there. Is it okay? Okay.
With respect to trend line.
Okay, sir.
And
I will show you some more things. SEF I will show you for this.
Sir, can you show the coefficient for this time series? I mean the A, B part.
This we have. I think that this and that is same or not. No, these are other things. This is the figure. Figure I have to see what does it mean. It is not that. It is 12, but it is figure. Or these are our seasonality coefficients basically. And
Okay.
this will give that negative and positive, the upper side of the trend, the lower side. But what does it mean? I have to see that. It is the figure basically. It is not that thing. But why it is 1.28 and 0. Near to that, but why it is difference? Why this difference is there? So the January 0.61, January have point negative. That is also negative. I just see that. Just look at the question. This. Mhm. Hmm. It is not giving us that. I have to search it somewhere else. I will search it somewhere else. Why it is difference? That is not that thing basically. What I want.
Okay, sir.
So here you see that is a ACF. There is a. I will tell you one important thing is that in the few figures, there are the different library we use for the time series, and this library we are getting this ACF, you know. So this is the start from the 0 leg, and you see the it should start from the leg 1. PACF, if I talk about the PACF, if I show you the PACF of this PACF, I will show you the PACF for this. There nature is not. ओके, ये हमने काहे का बनाया था? ये हमने इसी नहीं, इसका नहीं बनाया ना, इसका बनाया था हमने. ठीक है, ये बनाया था हमने. ऐसी water residuals. First this and then this. Okay, make the PS here. 30 legs we are taking. 30 legs. So I will make this. Look at this. So it will start from the first leg. It is not from the 0. So I have some different that library ST I have to download and install it, and then I will show you the different, the same leg. It will start from the 1 leg, both the plot, but here it is different. It is starts with the 0 and it is 1. Sorry, it is start with 1. The previous start with 0. So that is little bit confusing thing. So 1 or 2 things remain, I think, and that first I see what remains in there in the expansion and smoothing. I have explained everything. I have shared this PPT also. There's so many things I have written there, and this we have completed. This we have completed. Double we have completed. This. Okay. It is Jenkins. It will be there. It is the auto regression. So we see this with theory. We complete this theory today in half an hour, and now I am going to start the ARIMA, auto regression moving average model. So auto regression integrated moving average model, or ARIMA, for short, is a standard statistical model for time series forecast and analysis. Whenever you have the irregular variation, then you could not apply the exponential smoothing over there. Then you have to use the ARIMA. Along with its development, the authors Box and Jenkins also suggest a process for identifying, estimating, and checking models for a specific time series dataset. So this Box Jenkins has given us the process only. Okay, ARIMA is a model. ARIMA is a model, but the process how to work with this model, it has been explained by the Box Jenkins. So that process I am going to tell you first. Okay, this process now referred to as the Box Jenkins method. Box Jenkins method and tips for using it on your time series forecasting problem, especially about the ARIMA process and how the 3 steps of Box Jenkins method. Best practice heuristics for selecting the Q, D, and P. I will explain in the QDP later in this next slide. Model configuration for the ARIMA model. Regulating models by looking for overlifting and overfitting, and residual errors as a diagnostic process. And so these 3 steps they have explained. And what is autoregressive integrated moving average model? I explain here first, and then we again read that process. So an ARIMA model is a class of statistical model for analyzing and forecasting time series data. ARIMA is an acronym that stands for autoregressive integrated moving average. It is a generalization of simpler autoregressive moving average model. Previously, we have the ARMA and adds the notion of the integration. Okay, this acronym is descriptive, capturing the key aspects of the model itself. Briefly, they are AR, autoregression, a model that uses the dependent relationship between an observation and some number of lagged observation, lagged and previous observation. It is the autoregression. It is the regression with itself, the same variable. It is regress, getting the regression, the previous legs. Integrated, the use of differencing of raw observations. Raw observations, what does it mean? Subtracting an observation from an observation at the previous time step in order to make the time series stationary. So we do this activity for the integration. MA is for moving average, a model that uses the dependency between an observation and residual errors from the moving average model applied to lagged observation. Each of these components are explicitly specified in the model as parameter. Okay, so what are the parameters? Now I explain. The standard notation used for the ARIMA is the PDQ, where the parameters are substituted with integer values or quickly indicated the specific ARIMA model being used. So we will use here the integer value for P, D, and Q. So I will now tell you what are these parameters. The parameters of the ARIMA model are defined as the P, the number of lag observation included in the model, also called the lag order. Okay, so the number of lag observation included in the model, also called the lag order, and D, the number of times that the new raw observations are differenced, also called the degree of differencing. It is D for the degree of differencing, how many times you have got the difference, making it stationary. The size of moving average window, also called the order of moving average, and a size of moving average window, 2, 3, 1, whatever you are taking that. So now Box Jenkins methods I am again explaining in detail because we are now a little bit aware about the ARIMA. The Box Jenkins method was proposed by the George Box and the Glenn Jenkins and their seminal 1970s textbook Time Series Analysis, Forecasting and Control. The approach starts with the assumption that the process that generated the time series can be approximated using an ARMA model if it is stationary or an ARIMA model if it is non-stationary. If you have the stationary model, then there is ARMA. You don't have to do the differencing of that. If it is non-stationary, then we will apply the integration. Na? Then we will integrate it, the difference, we do the differencing between them. So the 2016 fifth edition of the textbook part 2 and the page I have also written there for the some research inferences. The process is a stochastic model building, and that is an iterative approach that consists the following 3 steps. So this approach was given by them. Identification: use the data and all related information to help select the subclass of model that may best summarize the data. Okay. So subclass of model we have to. An estimation: use the data to train the parameters of the model and the coefficients, whatever. And the diagnostic check: evaluate the fitted model in the context of the available data and check for areas where the model may be improved. It is an iterative process, so that as new information is gained during diagnostics, you can circle back to step 1 and incorporate that into new model classes. So then it will be see all in the practical. And, sorry. Now about the identification, I have some detail about that. The identification step is further broken into 2. We say that assess whether the time series is stationary, and if not, how many differences are required to make it stationary. So identify the parameters of an ARMA model for the data. 1.1 is the differencing. Below are the some tips during identification: unit root test and the avoid over differencing. So unit root test is the use unit root statistical test on the time series to determine whether or not it is stationary. Repeat each round of differencing. Avoid over differencing. Differencing the time series more than is required can result in the addition of extra serial correlation and additional complexity. So avoid over differencing. Once you have difference, you see that no, we could do the more stationary. So you are differencing it. So it could be harmful for us. So it will be extra serial correlation may be there, or additional complexity may create. And the 1.2 is the configuring AR and AMA. Configuring means the P and Q value, D for the differencing. So 2 diagnostic plots can be used to help choose the P and Q parameters of the ARMA and ARIMA. They are autocorrelation function, ACF, or we could also say the factor, and the partial autocorrelation function. The plot summarize the correlation of an observation with lags value. I have explained you that graph just for understanding. I explained, and then we do this in the ARIMA also. The x-axis shows the lag and the y-axis shows the correlation coefficient between -1 and 1 for negative and positive correlation. Okay. Partial autocorrelation, the plot summarizes the correlation for an observation with lag values that is not accounted for by prior lagged observations. Both plots are drawn as bar charts. We have seen that, showing the 95% and 99% confidence intervals and horizontal lines. And the bars that access, if that cross these confidence intervals, are therefore more significant, worth noting. And some useful patterns you may observe on those plots are: the model is AR if the ACF traits off after a lag and has a hard cutoff in the PACF after a lag. This lag is taken as the value for P. The model is MA if the PACF. I explained this in the PPT. Which model will be the MA, which model would be the AR. So here is also the mix of AR, MA is both the PACF a trade-off. So then we do that. Now the second thing is the estimation. Estimation involves using numerical methods to minimize the loss or error term. We will not go into the details of estimating model parameters, as their details are handled by the Fusion library or tool. Okay, because we use the different library. You could do the same thing. We have so many libraries for the time series. So we would recommending referring to a textbook for the deeper understanding of the optimization problem, ARMA and ARIMA. BFGS, business finance, and used to solve it. Limited memory BFGS is our one LMS. BFGS is our, I will explain, is the Broyden Fletcher Goldfrapp Shannon algorithm basically. We have to apply this. We will not go in deep in that. And you could search on the net. What does it mean? It's a very third is the diagnostic checking. That is the third. They have given three points they have given for the process. The idea of diagnostic checking is to look the evidence that the model is not a good fit for the data. Two useful areas to investigate diagnostics are overfitting and residual errors. So we know that these two we always use the logistic linear regression also. Overfit, the first check is to check whether the model overfits the data. Generally, it means that the model is more complex than it needs to be and capture random noise in the training data. This is the problem for the time series forecasting because it negatively impacts the ability of the model to generalize, resulting in poor forecast performance on out of sample data. Careful attention must be paid to both in sample and the out of sample performance, and this requires the careful design of the robust test harness for the evaluating models. And residual errors, you know, that provide a great opportunity for the diagnostics. A review of the distribution of the errors can help tease out bias in the model. The errors from an ideal model would resemble white noise. That is the Gaussian distribution, as I explained earlier about the white noise. The mean is 0, and we take that the normal distribution, and with the mean of 0 and a symmetrical variance, as I explained you. For this, you may use density plots, histogram, QQ plot that compare the distribution of errors of the expected distribution. A non-Gaussian distribution may suggest an opportunity to data pre-processing. If you have a non-Gaussian distribution, it is not normal. The residual, I am talking about the residual, not talking about the time series. The residual, what we are taking, it should be normal. A skew in the distribution or the non-zero mean may suggest a bias in forecast that may be correct. Additionally, an ideal model would leave no temporal structure in the time series of forecast residuals. This can be checked by the creating SEF, and PSEF has a major role. So I will explain tomorrow about this, how we could find this and what is the difference between the covariance and the correlation, the SEF and the PSEF. That is very, very important. Plots on the residual error time series. The presence of the serial correlation in the residual error suggests further opportunity for using this information in the model. So these are the basic theory I have already shared with you. And here is the autoregressive equation I am showing you. Value at time t linearly depends on the previous terms up to order p. Up to order p means up to the p period. We are going in the leg. In the multiple regression model, we forecast the variable of interest using a linear combination of predictors. Okay, predictors is what here? It is the autoregression. The predictor is we have the one variable only. The yt we want to know. So yt minus 1 will be a predictor, yt minus 2 will be a predictor, yt minus 3 will be a predictor. In this way, the previous legs will be the predictors or not? That would be a predictors. Does that make sense to everyone? Just like a linear regression, who has attended my linear regression session, they could better understand this thing. I just write the linear regression here. You know that the linear regression, what I use there, y cap is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 is the first predictor, and beta 2 x2. We have the different variables in the regression, but here we have the single variable. So we will regression on the time, the previous legs. Beta 1 is the yt minus 1, beta 2 is the yt minus 2. Here instead of x1, x2, we are taking the phi 1, phi 2, phi 3, phi p. Up to the p we are going. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So it is the auto regression. Because we forecast the variable of the interest using a linear combination of the past value of the past values of the variable. The term auto regression indicates that it is a regression of the variable against itself. Okay, so it's the same thing, against itself, regression of variable against itself. So here C is the constant. C is a constant as the beta 0, and ET is the white noise. A white noise I have explained you little bit. It is a white noise. This is like a multiple regression, but with lagged values of YT as predictors. So we refer there is an ARP model. Does that make sense to you? I have explained the AR1 there and in this PPT previously. So is the ARP where up to where it is taking, considering that. It doesn't mean that you have a data of 365 days and the daily ways you want to make a time series analysis, daily parameter, and then it doesn't mean that it will take the all 365 consider. So it will take only the 25 days also. It may consider the 5 days only the previous. So it depends on this, the P, how many leg it is taking. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So I just change the slide. Here you see, we have seen that our auto regression AR we have seen. Now we see the moving average. So rather than use the past values of the forecast variables in regression, a moving average model uses the past forecast errors. And the moving average model uses the past forecast errors. That is the ET minus 1, ET minus 2, and there is the theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 are the coefficients here. So errors in a regression like model. Okay, the same, but we are taking the C plus ET or the errors, that is the epsilon T, or we could say the epsilon of the ET. Here the epsilon T is the white noise. We know that earlier I explained that we refer to this in the MAQ model, and so it will take the Q up to where it is taking. Of course, we do not observe the value of ET, so it is not really regression in usual sense. Okay, so notice that each value of YT can be thought of as the weighted moving average of the past few forecast errors. Okay, so that is whatever we read in the theory in the practical time series, there is a difference. Okay, so there is a little difference. Whatever you read in the theory and you do the manual time series, and when you do the practical, there is a always we get some difference. If we combine differencing with autoregression and moving average model, we obtain a non-seasonal ARIMA model. ARIMA is an acronym of autoregressive integrated moving average model. Integration is in this context the reverse of the differencing. The full model can be written as we are writing that first the moving the regression or auto regression, then the moving average concepts, and the C plus C we have the capital C here now. Okay, and the ET is the whatever you have taken, that is this way. So whole errors instead of ET we are putting this. Okay, and we are the Y-dash is the difference series. It may be have been difference more than once. It is the one differentiation we have taken. If we have taken the second differentiation, so it would be double. Once the predictors on the right hand side include both lagged values or the YT and the lagged errors. We call this the ARIMA PDQ model. And with the order of the autoregressive part, D is the degree of the first differencing involved, and Q is the order of moving average part. It is little bit complex models are these. So this was all about the theory. I explained you. And the Monday we will see the practical of this, then you could better understand the thing. The theory, whatever the we read, and the practical when we see, we could better understand the thing in the practical way. Or I will also explain the ACF and the PSEF, which is we used in the ARIMA basically, and the exponential smoothing that is not required there. But here it is required. So I have written there also, but we don't use that thing there. Okay. So is there any queries, any doubt, someone?
Sir, can you put this PPT once again in today's folder so that will be helpful for me. This PPT you said, no?
I
think
have
you,
signed. I have
yeah.
signed. I have signed.
Which day, sir? Actually, I forgot.
Today I signed.
Today you will. Okay, and yeah.
You will
And
get the today. I make the two folders, yesterday and today's folder. Yeah, 10th date on the 10th September and 11th September folder is there.
okay, sir. Yeah.
So in the 10th September folder, that is there.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I think you have shared a couple of PDF also. I think in day 7. Thank you.
I will show you that.
Yeah, that is very. Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
I'll just
for
show
that.
you that. So I have shared the papers also.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So you see here the time series PDF, time series analysis application are examples, and the time series analysis PDF. So this I have shared here, and that
Screen is not visible, sir, but it's okay.
This is that I have, which is my everything is there. It is the latest one,
Yeah.
which I showed you.
Yeah.
And
Sir, one more thing. After Monday, I think you will be teaching the backlog, no? That R2 ka some inferential analysis, something.
Yeah.
So you will be Tuesday, Wednesday, like that, no, sir?
Yeah. After finishing this, it will be finished on the Monday, I think itself.
Acha, okay.
There is no much. Only the script we have to run. I have to explain very few things. The theory has been finished now.
Okay,
there is too much theory. It's very vast. We have to read and read. It will not finish.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Very big theory portion. We could not.
Yeah. Some, sir. Another thing is that some extreme gradient boosting algorithm. Something is.
We will cover it. We will cover.
Acha.
That is the algorithm we used to boost the model what we have prepared, the random forest or the decision tree, whatever. We could boost it. We could boost it. So, it could increase the accuracy of that model, increase the performance of the model through that algorithm.
Yes.
So
yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
So I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So can you explain that D part, first degree differentiation? I mean, you have mentioned the theory, but
you will see in the practical day after tomorrow, then you could better understand that thing. Okay. So we'll do there, and then you could see that thing. Okay. That is there in our script already. So if I explain, you could not understand here.
Fine.
So I will explain there.
Sir, I have a request. I am not present, sir, in auto regression. I am coming from R2 to R4. So, sir, if you share the auto regression, so I can understand ARIMA in deep.
Okay. I will share the link to you, of the auto regression video. You just see that, and you could understand the thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because I could not explain here because it will take long time. 2 or 3 days it will finish our.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sir, in this R4 we can do SVM, support vector machine.
Yeah. We will cover it. We will cover it in the R4. R4 we will cover it. We will cover the SVM knife base. We will cover KNN. We will cover here. We will cover the extreme boost here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I will cover these all algorithms.
I have one query.
Yeah.
Sir, There is linear regression and logistic regression was not covered in any of the classes. R basic, R2, R3.
No, R3 we have covered that, the linear regression, logistic regression. We have covered.
No, sir. I think that was the previous one, sir. That is what
Ah,
even
R2,
I used to
R2,
ask you.
R2 covered with that thing. Na?
No,
Previous.
no, sir. Actually, you changed the some of the portion syllabus, and
Yeah.
I keep same thing. I keep repeatedly asking you. That was not covered, sir. Even I missed that thing.
Actually, when you reshuffle that,
But we have
that is-
covered. I think the Srinivasan ji has attended that session, no? Linear regression, logistic regression.
No, sir. I am continuously, attending R1 to R4, sir.
One Mr. Fellow, I don't know the name of that. What?
Some Rajaram.
Rajaram ji. He has attended
Rajaram.
that.
I think that time you might have taught them. I think so, sir.
Yeah.
Because
In that
because
batch I
we
have taught.
missed. Yeah.
Yeah. In that batch, I have thought that. So we have then reshaped the curriculum.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That is why we missed.
Huh. So then we will take the another program after that. Then we will cover the whatever the things have been
Yeah.
remains.
Yes, sir.
So in this workshop we could not cover that because we have to cover the previous inferential analysis also here. Because I was making the sixth part of this. But Mr. Mukesh asked me, please only complete this in 4 parts. So I know that in the 10 days, that is not possible to cover this much topics. So 10 days program. But I have bifurcated in that 6 part. But he asked me 4. So I told him I tried it. But that is not possible. We will see the days, how many days we are going. So then we increase the number of workshops.
Sir, or at least, we will request you, sir, after this backlog completion, I think if you could take that, logistic regression and linear regression, whatever Suresh Kumar ji also asking. So if you take only 1 day, 2 hours, that will be beneficial, sir. And after, if you are starting with the new workshop, definitely we will be joining, sir.
Okay.
If it is possible, only 1 day, if you could spare, and then teach
I will
us,
give you the basic ideas and everything. I will give you.
so that,
Okay.
yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do in regression random forest, do we get an equation, a prediction equation like we do in time series or in multiple regression or in logistic regression, or just we can get a predicted value without any equation?
No, I could not understand what you are asking.
For example, in regression, we can get y hat is equal to a plus bx1 plus b2x2 plus b3x3. Do in regression, do in random forest regression, can we get a similar equation or an equation that we can use to predict the value manually?
No. In the forest, we could not get the forest or in that decision tree.
We can only get the predicted value from
linear regression, logistic
Yes.
regression. We get the equation there. We get the equation also in the logistic regression model. We get
but in random forest we cannot get it.
We could not get that.
Okay.
And that is the conditional. Basically, that is the conditional. That is a hierarchical nature basically.
Just the tree. When we go through the tree, we can know in which class we can get.
What I could not. Please pardon what you are asking. Yeah.
And if, for example, we can start using the tree in order to get the final node. So we are in this node.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Have a nice Sunday.
Okay. Have a nice Sunday, all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.